Hello, and welcome to Fall Fridays at the North Carolina Arboretum. My name is Jonathan Marchal, and I'm the Director of Education here at the Arboretum. And we're going to take a little stroll. We're going to be beginning next to the Baker Exhibit Center, our main visitor center here at the Arboretum, and going on the Natural Garden Trail, which is a really nice, easy grade. It's got a lot of fall color right now, and if you're looking for just sort of a nice stroll on a pretty day like today, this is a great place to go. So while I'm out and about, I'm going to be kind of pointing out some fall color and some trees that are here, some native trees, but I also might just stop upon any other sort of plant or animal that catches my attention. And so let's get started right this way. So this time of year, I am a big fan of goldenrod, which you may see as you're driving along the roads, walking around gardens. These flowers right here are just a hotbed for all kinds of different really interesting insects. A lot of our native pollinators. We've got here a little bee on that. There is a ladybug beetle crawling around looking for a snack, not of the nectar or pollen, but of insects that might be hanging out on there, aphids and so forth. Now let's keep on moving. We've got plenty more native wildflowers all mixed together right in here. And this spot is a place that I really like to check out for monarch butterfly caterpillars. This time of year, the milkweed that they feed on is sort of starting to fade. There's a sprig of milkweed right here, common milkweed, that it's got a lot of green to it still, but most of it's kind of turned to yellow and the leaves have fallen off as those caterpillars have moved on to become chrysalids or adult butterflies. I do see a really cool predatory insect hanging out right here you might be familiar with. This critter right here, an excellent ambush predator, maybe you know that one. The praying mantis. I believe this one is the Asian variety. A lot of people like to introduce these to their gardens because they eat a lot of garden pests, and we've got a lot of them that are just kind of here and there. So that one's just sitting in wait. Oh, we've got a second one here as well. So it looks like if you're a praying mantis, this is the place you want to come and hang out. There's probably quite the insect buffet. All right, so we're going to leave the open spaces here where we have a lot of wildflowers this time of year and head over to the Natural Garden Trail. If you happen to come to the Natural Garden Trail with some kids, they may be interested in our track trail activities. This is a program of the Blue Ridge Parkway Foundation. We've been partnering with them for a number of years. And we have a turtle trails where you follow Shelly the turtle around on an adventure at the Arboretum. You can check that one out. We've got some others that are here also. We have an initiative called Eco Explore that gets kids outside as citizen scientists. And we partnered with Track Trails to be able to come up with that one right there. But they can also find all kinds of other nature's hide and seeks and insect activities if you want to start that out. And then they can log their hike and be able to earn some prizes along the way. So this is the beginning of the Natural Garden Trail. This tree right here, you'd see a lot more color on in the early spring. This is an eastern redbud, and they have those purple blooms in the spring. Right now we see those heart-shaped leaves kind of turning into yellowish and brownish colors. Not a really strong player for fall color, but of course a tree we love to have around because of that spring color. However, this is a superstar for sure for fall color. Happens to be the tree that is our state wildflower. Or I'm sorry, state flower. Our state wildflower is a different one. But the state flower is the the flowering dogwood, Cornus Floridia. And we see that it's got this really nice maroonish kind of color coming in with these leaves. It's hard to miss that color. It also is going to have these clusters of football-shaped berries. Another neat thing you might be able to spot is next spring's flowers. This has flower buds. They look like little onions. They also have leaf buds, which are these pointy ones here. Well, our flower buds, these little onions, are going to be those pretty flowers that we are used to seeing in the spring. So the redbud is going to shine then as well as the flowering dogwood. Get a little farther in and you'll notice these leaves that are a bit more shaded still have a lot more green color. So that's sort of an indicative of when they are starting to change. Hickories like this one are not really doing too much for fall color, but they're going to be sort of a goldish color. So keeping on the lookout for our hickories. This is actually an oak hickory forest that we have at the North Carolina Arboretum. And so what that means is that it's dominated by oaks and hickories. So they're the biggest trees that we have in our forest. And that's important for wildlife because oaks like this white oak right here are going to, of course, produce food in the form of acorns. And hickory nuts are great food also. These leaves are not quite turning yet. We've got a bit of a yellowish and brownish. Sometimes you get lucky enough to find a little bit of red, but white oak leaves are not necessarily known as being terrific fall color. All right, let's keep on wandering. So I've got to stop at this tree. Doesn't look like a whole lot. This is an American chestnut. You may be familiar with the plight of the American chestnut. If you look at the leaves, we do have some color on these ones. We've got a long skinny leaf with these sort of toothed margins here. And this is about as large an American chestnut as you'll find anymore. There was a fungus, a blight, that has been introduced from an Asian variety of chestnut that came here, and while the Asian variety can withstand the chestnut blight, unfortunately our American chestnuts could not, and so it really decimated our forests. Those oaks and hickories we talked about a moment ago being the dominant species, that wouldn't have been true if you were in these forests 200 years ago or so. You'd have the American chestnut be the dominant one. So at this point, the chestnuts are able to grow out of where we have an old trunk, an old stump of a chestnut. It sends up these sprouts. The sprouts live to be maybe about 2 inches or so in diameter before they get hit with the blight. They form these cankers and they start to die off as well. Now there's something interesting. I love going out in the woods because, you know, you never know what you're going to find. This little colony of insects right over here, not sure what is going on there and not sure what these critters are. They've got a really cool coloration on them. And there's a really handy tool I'm never without. I imagine a lot of us are not without our smartphones. But I like to be able to use my smartphone to also connect to the environment, not just tune it out. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up an app that you may be wanting to check out. It's called Seek. S-E-E-K, Seek by iNaturalist. And it only works if you've got some cell signal. We're close enough to the Baker building and not in the ditches, so we should be able to come up with something. You hit the camera button on that, and it just starts seeking what you're going, or scanning what you're looking at. So I'm going to see if it'll scan the insects that we're looking at right here. Right now it's identifying this as an American chestnut, so it's not looking at our insect friends here. It's looking more at that chestnut. I'm going to try another app that's called iNaturalist. That's even better. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to snap a photo of those little insects. I believe they're a type of aphid. And we're going to post it. And if you sign up for iNaturalist, you'll be a part of a naturalist community. And not only can you see photos that other people have taken, but people will see yours and help you identify. So I'm going to post those little aphidy insects, and we'll see if anybody around the world can help us identify. All right. Goodbye, chestnut. Let's keep on moving. We mentioned those large dominant trees. We're right underneath right now a big red oak. It's in the red oak group. Red oaks of the red oak group might include pin oaks and scarlet oaks, northern red oaks, southern red oaks, and a lot of times they hybridize, so it can be tough to find exactly what species they are. We do have a Know Your Oaks course coming up at the Arboretum with our adult education offering, so I could stand to learn a little more about that myself. My guess is that this is a scarlet oak here, and we've got a couple of other ones over here. Nice big tall oaks showing their dominance, growing way up high. So we've got another star of fall color in southern Appalachia right here. This right here is a Tupelo the Black Gum. And they can be easily confused for other stars of fall color, like this one right here, which is one that, if you watched us last week, Kat introduced. We have the Sourwood, Oxydendron Arborium. And you can see that it's got really pretty colors. Just if you're driving on the Blue Ridge Parkway or along the roads at the Arboretum or really anywhere around western North Carolina, this color will really pop out at you. And it's kind of neat to see how many sourwood trees we have around because of that really bright pop of red and those sort of ovally shaped leaves. Another really big player in fall color, big literally, is the tulip tree or tulip poplar. It's actually not a poplar, it's in the magnolia family, but often since its wood is very similar to poplar wood, a lot of times it might be marketed as that. But the tulip tree, Liriodendron tulipifera, is a very tall and straight tree, and we'll see these leaves turning a yellow color as the fall progresses. So big yellow sort of cat-faced shaped leaves for the tulip tree there. We see another hickory here. Those leaves are still pretty green, but they're going to turn a nice golden color not too long. All right. Another star of fall color. I believe Kat mentioned this one last week also. This is the red maple. It's definitely by far our most common maple that we have in western North Carolina, really throughout the southern United States, southeastern. But it's found in a wide variety of soils. You'll note that it has a reddish stem. This leaf right here is still very green as it fades to some fall color. In a location like this, there's a good chance you'll see its leaves turning yellow. Now, if you see a red maple that is in more of a sunny location, as their color comes out, it will turn more of a red color. So very often, if you find a red maple in a forest that's very shaded, yellow color, if it's in the sunshine, that's when you'll get that red color. And we'll keep an eye out for some of those colors as we're walking along. Another nice big tall tulip tree dominating the canopy up here. They are very fast-growing trees. They've got basically one strategy. Let's get up as high as in the canopy as we can possibly get, as quickly as we possibly can get. The sourwood tree is a different strategy. It winds and twists till it can find a space in the canopy it can kind of pop up into to be able to get that same sunshine. The trees look very static. Doesn't look like they're doing anything, right? But they are doing a lot. And they are competing for resources just like wildlife, like animals do. And one of those resources being incredibly critical is sunlight so that they can make their own food. The reason why we don't see many wildflowers right now this time of year, and why we would if we were here in early spring, is because these leaves have all popped out of our tall trees and they're taking the sunshine. They've shaded out the underbrush. If you come here in the winter, early spring, you'll see a lot more sunlight coming to the forest floor. And that's when those wildflowers just get super primed to grow super quick, have a short period of growth, be able to do their thing before the sunlight gets crowded out by all these tall trees. So we've come to a trail junction here. If you happen to take this path, you have options. You can keep on going up towards Wesley Branch Trail. You can keep continuing on this trail that we're on. This is the way we follow the Natural Garden Trail. Or if you decided you needed to go get something from the gift shop or check out our exhibit, the Baker Exhibit Center is just up this way. So it can circle on back. You can do a very short loop if you wanted to. We're going to go a little bit farther though. we now seem to be entering some sort of primitive village. No, what we're actually doing is we're entering an area that a lot of our youth education programming happens. And, you know, we feel that the way you get people more interested in conserving resources, taking care of the earth, the way you do that is they have experiences for young people in particular to just go out and enjoy it. And so by making these stick huts and spending time in the forest, we're really cultivating the next generation of conservationists. So the Arborium is also a great place for birding. And there's a Carolina wren that's just up in front of us here. I don't know that we'll get to spot it, but you know, there's a lot of places for birds to hide when you've got the full canopy out like now. But right now we are in the middle of a lot of migration, not just the monarch butterflies we mentioned earlier, a lot of our songbirds, quite a few are flitting around through here. I see some tufted titmice, they're gonna stick around and be here year round. We also have that youth education program I mentioned, out enjoying the woods right now, which you may hear. So a lot of people, when they think about how they might identify a tree, they look at the leaves, which can certainly help. But this is a nice spot to take a look at something a little bit lower down, which is the bark. We've got a white oak right here, a white oak that has very, very flaky bark, right next to a very different tree you may recognize. We talked about it having a really, really nice fall color, really, really dark red leaves. This is a sourwood, and you can see what we call furrows, deep furrows within the bark that you see here. So white oak, sourwood, big difference in the bark. Just one of the many things that you can take a look at to help identify a tree. Fall color is very, very easy to help this time of year. Obviously, you might want to try something else another time. Okay, we're almost done with our walk. We're going to take a quick look over this way, kind of pop up into the forest, or out of the forest into the forest meadow. And we have the forest meadow right up here. You can see as that light's introduced, things kind of change. So this is a really great stroll if you're interested in getting a kind of a taste of some more open areas and the color you'll see there, but also going onto the forest, being able to see what you're going to find here. And one of the great things about this area is if you happen to miss a little bit of fall, if you go to a different elevation, things will be totally different. And so I encourage everybody to get out and check out here at the Arboretum in Asheville, North Carolina. But wherever you happen to be, make sure you go on outside and go appreciate nature. And thank you very much for watching.